next comes, I forgot what comes next. Body class. Body all night. Labika, don't say baat to. Here's my confession. Okay. There was a time that I mean, I've learned this the hard way. Okay, I did not just come with this logic कि सारे creative लोग पागल हैं, ऐसे नहीं होता है. I am a very creative individual myself, and I've struggled with it. Yeah, I have struggled with creativity, but the whole point being that I just became so dependent on when that creativity is going to strike, you know. So I've had these days wherein everything has been like Astha's on fire. Like that was my mental state when I'm like Astha's on fire. She's coming with bang on ideas, like a banger after banger kind of thing. I am executing a lot of things, a lot of new initiatives, this, that. A lot like basically my mind is just endlessly flowing with a lot of creative things that I can do and things like that. And then comes the rut, because that's a part of everyone's headspace. It's You can't always be like, okay, matlab, yeah, idea. It's not like that. Similarly, it's like a yin yang situation, right? Now the whole thing is that when that creative rut came into place, it was coupled with so much of guilt, and I'm like literally questioning my existence, questioning my, I don't know, ability to be a good leader, to be a good manager, to tackle my team, to execute good client projects, etc. Because when you're in that headspace, and I think a lot of people who actually consider themselves to be like creative in a creative field, or consider themselves to be creative, they would relate with this idea that there comes a time when you're like, this is my block, this is my creative block time, nothing can happen now, and then you just endlessly just keep waiting, when is it going to strike, when is it going to strike.
I completely agree with that, and I've felt it too. And I just feel like the frequency of the rut starts increasing as you grow older. I feel like the rut and the frequency and the period, like the time it takes to get out of it, and things stop working. And I feel like it's like an antibiotic resistance sort of a thing that happens with us. Because like once you're in a rut and you do something and you're out of it, and then you have your creativity back, and then the next time you're like, oh, this is a foolproof technique, but it is not foolproof. The same thing will happen to you again, and then you continuously have to like figure out ways to get out of that.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
It sucks.
It sucks.
I feel like I've been in the constant one since 2023.
Ouch.
I feel like I haven't gone
Maybe you will get out of it after today. We'll see. We'll figure out. Okay. But I think that's what ends up happening a lot, and that is what was happening with me as well. But the whole thing was, when I'm having this realization, etc., is now that it's not a realization that I'm a founder, but I have to factor that in, that I don't have that capacity or that thing ki jab aayegi tab aayegi. It cannot be that. I have a lot of responsibilities.
a lot riding on your feet.
Exactly. A lot riding on my creativity. I have to manage internal SOPs, I have to manage different departments, I have to handle new clients, I have to find new clients, I have to handle and retain existing partnerships. There's just so much happening all the time that if there was no system, no organization, and I'm just sitting helplessly like, Bhagwan, creativity de do, it's not gonna do anything for me. So I realized कि भाई ये तो नहीं हो पाएगा. Like there has to be something to it. And then I was like, I basically called this loop of mine as a Astha on fire versus Astha and guilt loop. Okay, it was just a thing that was just happening, and that is what I mentioned in the beginning. That I felt killed my business, because when I don't feel it, I don't do it. You know that's the case, right? So, and when I don't feel it, even if I have to do it, given my position, I will not do it well enough.
Yeah, you can't half-ass it.
Yeah. So here's something crazy that I did. It's not like, I don't know, being somewhere outdoor level drunk, but what I mean is I did crazy in the sense that I decided to take the route of becoming this observant person and finding where my creativity is going to strike and how. So I just started, Yeah.
hunting
I
your
was like, you're not gonna come to me, I'm gonna come to you. And so I just started finding different ways and I became observant of my patterns or how I behave when I'm creative. And what is it that makes me behave that way? And where does it happen? Why does it happen? How can I make it more regular? So I started, it's like went from this journey of feeling like creativity happens to me to I can control my own creativity. So I took that journey. It was a decent, it took some time, but I took that journey. And now that I have that sorted, I'm able to,
channel it whenever.
yes, I can decide and choose when I want to be creative and I will make it happen for myself. And this is something that I practice internally as well in different ways, wherein, let's say, even if not such a direct foolproof method, maybe now when my associates watch it, they will have something foolproof. But I tend to give them certain advice or create certain avenues for them at such intervals that helps them continue to be in their creative zone and consistently get something out of it.
Okay, so in a way, you hunted your creativity down.
Yeah.
You figured out, like, ritualistically how you can induce it in
Yes.
yourself. And then you just started replicating the same environment or the same habits so that you could get your creativity. So that's like the structure to evoke.
Yes, but I can help you find that structure for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just ask you, are you like ready to like hunt it down?
I'm ready.
Okay, great. So we were talking about frameworks before I actually like give you that.
Tell me how it came to be.
Yeah. Like, so when I started observing my patterns and everything, there's this one particular cafe that I really like. And I noticed that every
Which
time
one?
I was going there, it's this cafe called Kana. And amazing coffee. I know my favorite coffee there. I know my favorite table there. And their playlist is amazing. Okay. So I'll take you there, in fact.
I'll note it down.
Yeah. It's very cute. So, but when I went there, so you know how, I mean, it does have a negative connotation, not the cafe thing, but you would have observed that there are certain places where you develop like a happy memory or a bad memory. Like, let's say if someone has had a bad childhood, they don't like going to their same room,
Yeah.
right? Or let's say where you've had like a good romantic relationship, you might reminisce that place or you might avoid it altogether,
Avoid it,
right?
yeah.
So it's the exact same thing when, yes, Lavika, I see those eyes. But that is exactly what happens even when you need to channel creativity. So
Okay.
I figured that place out for myself. Ki I like that cafe. And then I noticed a couple of times, every time I'm going there and I'm ordering my drink, I'm just sitting, I'm in my zone, enjoying the songs there and everything. I feel better. I feel creative. My headspace feels clearer. I'm able to come up with like good ideas in that space and everything. So I'm like, oh wow, this works. Okay, so like that kind of thing. So that made me this. That gave me this direction that okay, this cafe thing works. So now, even it could just be a psychological thing, but every time I'm in that cafe, somehow that mode turns on and I just start getting ideas.
Fair.
Yeah. So it's just that fun thing because I'll be like sitting at a table, observing like the next 4 to 5 tables around me, observing people. So that just gets like ideas flowing in different ways. And I call it my happy place, but it also actually equates to my creative place. So my happy place is my
Is your
creative
creative
place. Yeah.
space. Yeah. So you've realized that in order to be more creative, you need to be comfortable and happy, and like you need to have that dopamine like already flowing, and that place you associated that place because it happens there. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
Yeah. And it's also like, it doesn't just end there. Like, okay, so now it's like, okay, I've nailed the location. What's next for me, So then I started thinking more what kind of ideas or this and that. Now you know that I'm in a creative space. So, and I have to apply it and I have to train people on how to apply their creativity on a day-to-day basis. Because I'm talking about things like, let's say now, if you're working on, let's say, someone's personal brand, it can't just be built on like whenever it strikes I'll write a post. It's not
Yeah.
like that, right? So you
You
need
have
to
to.
create that avenue that okay, you've had a conversation with a client, how are you going to turn that into X number of posts? So now I have a system in place wherein I know that one idea, how to make it into 5 different posts, or one or like 2 thoughts, and how do I make it with like a more controversial opinion, or how to like add certain layers to it. I actually have a matrix that I follow to get it done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But is it not hindering your creativity, like this framework, which is so, I don't know, robotic in a way?
Okay.
And when you look at creativity, it's more free flowing and it's more, I don't know, not as systematic, because as we spoke about
Yeah.
it, right? So do you think in a way having this framework is hindering your creativity or doing the absolute?
Absolute opposite. It's
Okay.
multiplying the effect that can have, because one, I have figured out when all I can make my creativity work.
Yeah.
So instead of just having it like once in a blue moon, I can have it anytime I want. It's such a power to have when you realize it. Ki like, I want to be creative, I can be creative, because that's how I trained my brain. And then the second part of it, like I was telling, there is a matrix that I have, or there's a table that I'm following.
Yeah.
I know a direction. Otherwise, it's so random, and you can't build a brand on randomness. You build a brand on consistency. So where is that consistency or that repetition coming from? It's coming from a system.
Yeah.
So the way I like to put it, and I know a lot of creative people might hate me for it, but professional creatives are systematic or organized, and amateur creatives are chaotic. That is my opinion on it.
Wow. So you've passed your judgment. I think this is the next.
Yes, I've
LinkedIn
passed my
post.
judgment. 0 decks
This is
given.
going to be 0 decks given, and this is going to be another LinkedIn post. Like, the
Yeah.
punchline,
Yeah.
like last week's episode that you can check out here, how you create, how you make posts out of contradictions.
Yes, that is
And
exactly what it is. It's my
controversies.
personality.
Yeah, your personality. But understandable, I guess. You need to have a system, because if that you have a lot riding on your creativity, you can't just wait for it to come at you. How Frank Ocean dropped like an album and disappeared forever. I don't know, maybe he's going through like a creative block. But one thing I know is that Eminem treats making music like a 9-to-5 job. Like he
Yes,
walks
that is
into
it.
the studio at 9 a.m.
Yep.
Does whatever he wants to, takes 1 hour lunch break, then works his ass off until 6 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m. and then he goes back home and then he does whatever he wants to. He's very systematic in his approach to creativity. He's not like an artist who's like sitting up late or like,
He's a professional.
He's a professional. He's not an amateur. He's a
Yes.
professional.
That is exactly the point of it. Are you able to relate it?
Yeah, now I can.
Now, let me tell you a very interesting case study. Okay, I actually read it in one of the books that I was reading. It's called Creative Confidence. I think I spoke about it last time as well. So there is a study that one of the ceramics professor did. Okay, firstly, such a cool job to have.
Ceramics professor. Yeah, some
Yes.
people just have cool jobs.
So what he did in his class, he divided the group of students into 2 groups, Group A and Group B. Okay, Group A was given the assignment to, like, both the groups had to create pans, pottery, right? So they had to create ceramic pans and pots. Group A was asked to focus, like their KRA was quality, and Group B's KRA was quantity.
Okay.
Okay, so that means Group A was focused on creating the perfect pot and perfect pan. Okay, so that's what happened with Group B. They started from first pot, went into okay, next one, and with each step they were getting better. So by the time they were at the 50th or 100th, they had aced it all because they knew exactly what to keep fixing.
Okay.
So quantity turns into quality if you do it properly with time, with consistency. And that's exactly how you're supposed to treat creativity. Be like Eminem.
Be like Eminem.
Yes.
Yes. I understand that now, because yes, practice does make you better at what you're doing. Practice makes perfect. And yeah, if you just try to do it right in the first go and you spend too much time in perfecting the first output or the first thing that you're trying to put out, you're not going to be able to, learn through the mistakes.
Yeah, and more than learn, just imagine how pressurizing it'll be for you, right? You're just aiming for that, oh my god, it really needs to just ace it. I need to, take it off the charts kind of thing. But no, maybe you create like 10 flop songs and one comes a hit. Like it has to be that logic and understanding with which you should be approaching your tasks. And that's what I tend to practice now, and that has helped me.